What's up, people? This is your boy Elijah. Welcome back to another edition of Humble Dad, and we got a special guest in the building. This is the first time that we've really spoken, and but the big deal about bringing this individual on is that because of my relationship with Chris Morrison, who you can go check out on other podcasts, um, this young man was like, "Hey, Chris is like a brother to me," So I trust his decision making, and so that's why I'm here. Had the opportunity to just speak with him for a little bit. He's going to share more about who he is and his story and his journey to being a dad. And so I want to welcome none other than Mr. Justin Cameron. What's up, Justin?
John.
I'm
What's
good, man.
up,
Chilling. I'm gonna have to give me some clapping hands or something, as,
man?
as I continue. That's what's up, man. I really appreciate you being here. You know,
Yeah, not a problem, man.
you're number 58. And I'm going for episode 100 by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's
So I
good.
got a lot of work to put in, but you're a part of the journey, and so I appreciate you being a part of the journey. So let the people know, a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, man, I'm just a regular old dad, man. Hardworking guy that tries to do his best to provide for his family, man, and to be a spiritual leader of my house, and just to make sure that my kids and my wife don't suffer.
Mm, that's good stuff, man. So that's a good start. How many kids do you have?
I have two kids. Yep, I
Okay.
have a boy, a girl. My son's name is David. He's 8 years old,
Okay.
and my daughter's name is Ember, and she is 5 years old.
Okay. How did you decide on the names?
Well, my son is named after my grandfather,
Okay.
and that's the man who raised me.
Okay.
And my daughter, my wife, kind of just always had that name in her head, and it always just kept coming
Keep
back
coming
to her,
back.
back to her. So that's what we ended up naming our daughter.
That's
Yeah.
what's up. That's what's up. So the first question I always ask every dad is, or the main question I ask, I would say at the beginning is, what do you feel like the difference between a father and a dad is?
Well, man, that's a tough question because I growing up, I didn't have much of a dad or a father or anything like that. I didn't have any kind of examples or anything like that. But you know, the way I think of it is, God is the father,
Mm,
and to be loving, caring,
okay.
to be as loving as caring as He is, that's part of being a father. To love your wife and love your kids unconditionally, to love Him, and to just guide your children uh, to live like Jesus, to be like Jesus.
Mm,
That's what a father is, man. That's what a true father is. Any old dude can be a dad. You know, any
explain
old
that
dude.
to me. What do you explain that to me? Any old dude can
I
be a
mean,
dad.
any old dude can be with a woman and have a child. Anybody can do that. Any man can do that unless there's complications or whatever. But
Mm, I see.
actually stepping up and taking care of them, providing for them, and that's a father.
Okay. That's what's up.
That's
So
the way I
when
look at it.
no, that's what's up. That's fine. I mean, like for me, I don't see it as a right or wrong. I think the question really came about when I did my first podcast and I was interviewing my uncle, who was my father figure, even though he didn't live in my house. He was the
Right.
one that we would reach out to. Like I have a lot of cousins, and most of us did not have fathers in our house, and so he was the one that we would go to, and uh, and so um, just asking him that question, I just always to ask the question is kind of see, is there a difference, and if there is, what do people think? Because we have Father's Day, and then we got people that say that's my dad. So I
Yeah.
just was wondering, well, what people think when they hear that. So when you go back to when you were younger, you said you didn't have necessarily a father in your life. So who were your father figures? Oh, your dad
So
figures.
so so I had my grandfather. You know,
Okay.
he raised me. My 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 dad was kind of he was out there, man, and
Mm,
doing a lot of things he shouldn't have been doing, and he's just never been there.
okay.
And and he's had opportunity and opportunity and opportunity, but it just never was important enough for him. My
Mm,
my grandfather, he was old, and,
mm,
and he took care of me. He never was in really good health, and so I just kind of fended for myself
I
in
see.
a sense. Um I kind of did my own thing, and
What age was that? You say you was doing your own thing. So you was raised by your grandfather. So you was basically living with him, but not necessarily, I
I
guess,
was going
guidance.
out. I was going out and just doing my own thing, man. I got into drugs real hard, and
Okay.
about 13 years old was when all that started. You know,
Really? Was somebody
yeah,
introduced you to it? It was just like, this is
yeah. It was. I mean, so it was just kind of always there.
okay.
My grandfather's wife. She was addicted to cocaine,
Mm,
and so she was in and out, all the time, and you know, it was tough, man, and yeah, so it was just always around. All my
uh,
family did it. My grandfather dabbled in it a little bit.
yeah.
His his thing was drinking more than anything, and in 2001 he had a massive heart attack and had heart failure and stuff like that. And
Oh wow.
so he didn't drink anymore really or anything like that. But I didn't stop my grandmother. Uh,
Mm.
we were um, at 13 years old. We were doing drugs together.
Oh
You know,
wow.
so
Wow.
it wasn't
Okay.
like I didn't have to hide it. It was
Mm,
just accepted. It was okay.
mm,
All everybody was doing it. And I did that for about 5 years till I was
wow.
18 years old.
So
Till I
did you
met my
feel like, oh, until you met your, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
till
off.
I
You
met my
said,
wife. Until I met my wife, and she said she wasn't gonna put up with that nonsense. So
oh wow. My daughter said she wanted to give me a hug. Hmm. Hello.
Daddy,
Hello.
I want pancakes.
Okay, you can go get pancakes.
Can you make me pancakes?
Yeah, she hasn't seen me all day, so
yeah,
this is the first she got to see me. So
yeah.
daddy will be there, okay?
You make me
So you can stand right
pancakes.
here. So yeah, it's okay, baby.
Pancakes.
Hold on real quick.
All right.
She was asking for some waffles. She just got to the house and she's talking about waffles. So she's been out since what time I dropped off? I dropped her off at like 9. And so some people that are helping me, since my wife is no longer here, they uh, picked her up and then took her on a play date. And
Sweet.
so she just got back. And so she missed daddy. So I'm
yeah,
sorry about that.
yeah. My little girl's a daddy's girl too, man. My son,
Ah,
he could care. My son could care less as long as his mom was around. But my
oh,
daughter, yeah, she's all daddy's girl, man.
that's what's up. Well, the thing about it for me, she wasn't a daddy's girl. My youngest one, my oldest though, I have four.
Yeah,
My oldest who is 12, she's a daddy's girl. She spent time with her mom, but me and her did a lot of conversing, just like her and her mom. But we would go out on different dates and stuff like that and get to know each other a lot. My youngest, she spent a lot of time underneath her mommy's arm, you know,
yeah,
and so she's becoming a daddy's girl because I'm the only one left, right? And so,
right,
but
right.
but, but yeah. So when you met your wife, there was a change in you. Why? Why did you change for
There
her?
was, man, because as a younger, child, younger than 13 or so, I guess it was really kind of always there. But being a dad and having a family was always my goal.
Really?
That's what I wanted to do. But it kind of faded away when I got into the drug scene. That was all I wanted to do. It
Mm,
completely consumed, my dreams, my thoughts, everything. It completely consumed me. And
mm,
then when I saw her, there was kind of this glimpse, of a dream that I used to have
mm.
and that I could possibly have. So she told me, and she was like, "Hey, you're gonna have to stop all this. You're gonna have to get a job, and because I'm not gonna take care of you. If you want to do this with me, we're gonna, you're gonna have to stop all this stuff."
Wow. So let me pause. I'm gonna come back to that, but I want to kind of go back just a tad bit. Please hold that thought, and we're gonna go on from there. Why did you have the dream or idea to be a father before 13? Like
Because I
what was?
because I never had, you know,
Hmm,
I never had a structured family.
okay.
You know, and all my friends and stuff were a lot older than me. I had a few that were my age, but most of them were older because I was searching for that,
Mm,
you know,
okay.
that dad. And I would go and stay at my friend's house and stay over there and become real close to them and be kind of part of the family. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay.
So that
So
was,
that's okay. Yeah. Go ahead. No, you can finish. I didn't hear
so
you.
that was, you know, just the fact that, I was dealing with, an abuse. My grandfather was abusive.
Mm,
He beat on my grandmother, and she would steal all of our money and go and smoke it
wow.
up.
Wow.
And we wouldn't have anything, and that would cause fights, and they would fight. So I always had a pretty crappy home life,
Man. Yeah.
and
And then you
so
transition to meet your wife, who's your wife now, but she was your girlfriend. Like what? Okay,
she,
so she's telling you these things. You must have really liked her. Like, how did it get to a point for her to even like you, right?
so
Enough to be
so
bold enough to tell you that.
right. So the first, I would say, hour that we first hung out, I was like, "Watch, I'm gonna marry you."
What?
Because I mean, I swear to you, man, I swear to you.
That's a bold
And
statement, bro. That's a
it
bold
was,
statement.
hey, I'm here. We're 10 years in this thing now,
Let's
babe.
get it. Yeah. Let's get it.
So I
Yeah.
told her, I was like, watch, I'm gonna marry you. And she's like, dude, I don't even really like you. What are you tripping on? So so I did my little smooth stuff there for a few weeks, being smooth, and um, she finally gave in, and she told me that she did like me
Mm.
and that, but she's been taking care of dudes her whole life, or
Wow.
not
I
necessarily,
understand.
but her whole
I
relationship.
understand. Yeah.
She had kind of a deadbeat boyfriend, not really a boyfriend, and he was kind of a deadbeat, and she was paying for everything, and he was driving her car. So I was like, "Bet." The next day, I went and got a job. I said, "I'll quit." I said, "I'll quit." I quit doing drugs and stuff. Probably won't quit drinking. It took me a couple years, and I quit drinking for a while too.
What?
Yeah.
So was
And
this
then
before Christ? This before you met Christ?
this was a little bit before I met Christ, but
Wow.
he was setting me up to meet with him. I'm telling you,
I'm listening.
because on my 18th birthday, um, it was the day before my 18th birthday. I was coming down off of a high, and I was just feeling real down, man. I just my grandfather died
Mm,
March 15th, I think, of 2011.
Mm.
I turned 18 in 2011.
Mm.
So he died, and I just didn't have nowhere to go. You
Wow.
know, I felt like everybody turned their back on me.
Mm.
The house that my grandfather was staying in, my aunt and stuff, they just let it go back. I didn't have nowhere to go. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any source of income. All I had was this little podunk car, and I didn't even have a driver's license.
Mm.
I'm driving this car around, and I forget where I was going with this.
Talking about how he was setting you up to
Yeah,
meet
he
with
was
him.
setting me up. So um, I was feeling really kind of down. I was really out of it, man. I just didn't know if I wanted to, what I wanted to do. Um, and I just got the feeling like, hey, you can be done with this. My brother lives here in Nacogdoches. I'm originally from Arkansas,
Oh, okay. I see
and
you.
my brother lived in Nacogdoches, and I called him that day. I said, hey, man, I'm done. I can't do this no.
Wow.
He came and got me. And then my wife has always been in church, right? And she was kind of out of it there for a little while, right before we got together.
Mm.
Got together, and we were both in a bad spot, and we kind of rescued each other.
Okay.
So I was deep into drugs, and she was deep into really bad relationships.
Okay.
And I severed the ties that she had with those bad relationships, and
I see.
she severed the ties that I had with drugs.
Mm. Okay.
And
Okay.
then it wouldn't be maybe a year later that we kind of got saved. But we fell in and out here and there, but now we're going pretty strong for quite a while sometimes.
That's what's up. So now you get married. Now, when is the first child? Like when?
The first
How old were
child.
you?
So we didn't get married until 2 years after we were together.
Okay.
We had always wanted to, we just didn't have the funds to do it, and we got married at 21. And then in August of 2013, we got married, and we had our first child in November 2013.
Okay. 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 So then talk to me about when you had that when she told you that she was pregnant and all the way up to the day that you had your first you lighten up, bro, into the first day.
So it's kind of funny, right? Like
Okay.
I've always wanted children. Like I said, it's
Yeah.
always been kind of a dream of mine to be a dad, and um, and my wife's too. She's always wanted to be a, she would have dreams about it, and so she has a bladder infection, right?
Hmm.
She's hurting, her bladder's hurting real bad, and we go to the hospital because it's hurting so bad, and they say, um, well, you're pregnant and you have a bladder infection at the
Ooh,
hospital. So I mean, I guess we had been trying, but it
that's
really came
crazy.
unexpectedly,
Wow.
So, and we were living in Arkansas at the time.
Okay.
We had moved back, and there really wasn't no good doctors there or anything. So we
Yeah.
moved back to Texas, where some good doctors were. And yeah, man, it was crazy. And that's
That's
actually when we met Chris, was during my wife's pregnancy.
wow.
We met Chris because my wife was we were struggling, man. It was kind of hard to get a good job around here, and we were struggling financially, and struggling to have a place to live, stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and then my wife she was pre-eclamptic, so she had to be put on a low sodium diet.
Mm.
So Chris and his wife moved us in with him so Chris's
Wow.
wife could feed my wife a low sodium diet.
What?
I swear, man.
Desi. Wow.
Desiree Morrison was an amazing person.
Yeah. We had a lot of conversations. We had several conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So, man, it was, from the time, it was a lot of joy there, man, when I had my son. I had pictures of me because she ended up, she was real sick during the pregnancy, and then she got hurt really bad during the birthing process.
Oh man.
So,
Hmm.
they're trying to deal with her and stop bleeding and stuff like that. So they just plopped this little milky looking baby in my arms with a big old deformed head. And all I could do was cry. It was
Really?
so
Oh.
amazing, and it was probably the first time I'd ever really, other than when me and my wife got married, the first time I felt real joy, just
Mm,
pure joy
mm.
uh, from the fact that my son was born.
Yeah. Real joy. That's good. And then a son at that, first
Yeah,
maybe a
yeah, that
boy.
was the biggest part. My wife always wanted a girl first,
Yeah.
but of course, I wanted a boy, and
Yeah.
I got it. I found out that he was a boy on my birthday.
Come on, man. You got things going for you, bro. It's crazy. So then when your second one is, you said how old is the second one?
She's 5.
So she's 5. So
Yeah,
you had a little bit of time to be a dad, like maybe about two and
yeah.
a half, 3 years. So talk to me
Mhm.
about like how were you as a dad in the first child?
Well, I was gone a lot for
Okay.
my son's younger years. I worked out of town. I was doing construction, so I missed so much.
Hmm.
So what I can say is for those new dads that have young children, stay home. Don't go off. Don't go off because first of all, it's going to hinder your marriage, and it's definitely going to hinder the relationship with your children.
Hmm. Why you say how does it hinder the
So
relationship?
the reason me and my daughter are so close is because from day one, I was there. My wife was real sick with our second pregnancy. I was there. I changed all the diapers. I did everything.
Okay, I'm
We
with you.
just bonded. But with my son, you know, I was never there. I was there one day a week.
Hmm.
So, and I was always tired. So I'd be sleeping or something like that. And then, um, yeah, it was tough, man. It was really tough. And once I got done with that, I had a night job, so they didn't
Okay.
make it any easier.
Oh man.
And
Yeah.
it was tough, man.
So what did you
And
learn during that process? And you got the process of I need to be there, but like what were you learning from child number one to child number two that as you said, you gotta make it a point of emphasis that you are present as
yes,
often as possible. And
present.
so yeah, yeah. Okay. So that's the thing that you learned. Go ahead. You were about to say.
I lost it. What were you gonna say?
I was just saying, what was the other? Was there something else that you could have that you think that you learned as a dad, as a father in that time period to set you up to be ready for your daughter?
Oh,
Because
I wasn't
because
ready for my daughter. I'm still
wow,
not ready for that, man.
she's 5.
She is feisty, boy.
Okay, okay,
Her name Ember is perfect for her. I'll tell you.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So then, so as you're not ready, okay, in this, what could you say has been the highlight of you being a dad over these past 8 years?
Man, the highlight, it's just being able to do things with my children. Being there for them is probably the highlight. Just having them, man, because
Mm.
and providing for them, and uh, that's the biggest part because I didn't have that.
Yeah.
That's the biggest highlight. We had food and stuff like that with me growing up, but there was never any kind of father son relationship
Mm.
or mother for in fact no mother son relationship either.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't. My mother was murdered when I was a
Oh,
young baby, and
dang.
my father was just never there.
Mm. I'm sorry to hear that. Golly.
My grandfather was old. All he did was sit around the house, and not to mention he was sick. You know, uh, so there was no parent relationship
Okay.
almost with.
Okay.
So all this stuff that I've learned being a dad, I've had to just get out there and figure it out.
Yeah.
It's trial and error, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. When like I said, I wasn't raised with my dad, and so it is seems like it's a trial and error type thing. I was telling a person I talked to earlier that like what did it for me in helping me become a good dad, because I was scared, the first time. Uh, Even though we was married, I was like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna do because I'm not. Uh, I don't feel equipped. I didn't even feel like a man until I was 30. When I had my
Yeah,
first kid. Had my first kid. We had our first kid. I was 30, and I was like, man, I don't know what to do here. And when I started, what helped me was being around other dads, like
yeah,
older guys that could kind of teach me some things, and they always came from a biblical perspective. And so when they did that, it eased up a little bit, to some degree. It eased up in how I approach my kids, and not until I would say I was an okay dad, of the 12 years that I've been a dad, but not until I started doing the Humble Dad podcast
right.
did I become an even better dad, because I got to talk to so many dads, and how they are doing what they're doing. So I would take like little bits and pieces of what they would say
Right.
and implement it immediately, you know. And I tell you this story. Before I started the podcast, I asked my kids, I was like, what would you grade me as? Like, what's my score as a dad? And they was, I said, just be honest with me, no big deal. And they was like, I give you about a 6, you know. It's like, oh man, a 6.
Oh
Okay.
man.
Yeah. I was like, I said, and I asked my daughter, I said, why a 6? And she was like, because your communication is not good. It's
Right.
like, what do you mean? You gotta give me an example, right? Because that's what I tell them. Like, you don't have a point if you can't prove your point or give some type of example of a point. And she had one on deck, bro. She was like,
You've been thinking about this, huh?
yes. She was
Good
like,
deal.
yeah, she's like, you don't remember when mommy said for me to do this, and then you told me to do this, but you wouldn't even listen to what I'm saying, and you wouldn't even listen. You just kept saying, because what I said was, I'm the dad, like you do what I say. And she
Right.
said, and she said, but mommy just told me something to do. And I'm in my machismo mode trying to override what my wife then said and haven't asked anybody anything. Right.
Yeah,
And she told me that. And I was like, dang, you're right. You're
I'm
you're
guilty
right.
too, man.
I
I'm
said,
guilty too, man.
and I said, you're right. And so I was like, okay, I got to do better. And then once I started doing the podcast and start hearing what other dads do to be involved or how they communicated with their kids, like I said, I started implementing those things. And like 2 or 3 months after, I asked them again, what would you grade dad? And they told me that I was at a 10.
Yeah, boy.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
it's
what
a
you want to
9 or
hear.
10. And then when my youngest son, he was like, is there a number bigger than 10? I was like, I appreciate that, homie. I appreciate that. So I say that all to say that if you want to be a better dad, get around dads that you think are good. Right.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, even even in my friends' places and stuff like that, it felt like we were all dealing with dad issues.
Mm,
Like, or they had a good dad, but not so good of a mom. They stayed with mom, kept them away from dad, type stuff.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's unfortunate too, right? That a
it
mom
is
would
crazy.
purposely keep their kid from their dad. Like that doesn't.
You know,
That's like doesn't even. That's just
I'll tell
doesn't
you
make sense.
what I told Chris the other day. I'll tell you what I told Chris. He had said, what is the importance of a dad or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I told him, it was actually on Facebook, but you know, when you have a daughter, you know, people say, oh, well, it's important for a son to have a dad. Well, it's just equally as important for a daughter to have a dad because you're giving your daughter an example of what to look for in a husband, you know, and a father for the
Or
children,
not to look for.
or not to look for, right? Or you want to be that one they want to look for.
Yeah, right. That's
And the
good.
same thing with your son, it's you have such a big responsibility, not just taking care of them, but teaching them and being the example that they look for, or the example that they want to be when they become dads or mothers.
That's good.
You know?
That's good.
And that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yes.
Is to be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what God told us in the beginning: be
He
fruitful and
did.
multiply. And then, also raising them in the way of the Lord is
Yes. That is it.
is the most important thing you could possibly do. I think. You're just setting them up for you're setting them up for failure uh, by not doing
Yeah. Because they don't have a way to, um, in some regards, know their value, know their identity. So therefore, if I don't know my own identity, how can I be respectful of other people?
right.
If I don't even have a clue or value to myself, especially in the era that we're living in right now with they want men to be feminine but want women to be masculine, right?
Yeah,
And and so wanting the individual to operate in counter to their instinct, you're fighting against your natural tendencies. And so as dads and moms, but since we're talking about dads, as dads, it's very important because, like you said, if we think about it like this, Christ came and gave us an example,
yeah,
right? And if we model him, as Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ, then your kids are going to operate in that manner, as well as look for that in another individual.
yes,
They'll be able
sir.
to also, like what we did with our kids, like we would teach them to defend themselves in the gospel. Like, so we would tell them, like, we don't want you to believe because we believe. We want you to believe because you have accepted Christ yourself. Like, what does that look like to you? And so we would ask questions like, why? Why? We would say, okay, well, explain to me how you know. Okay. And so as a result of that, we would begin to have this one thing that we did. When we had dinner, we would watch Family Matters. One of the things that we did for about a year or so, before Jen passed, and we would have conversations in the middle of, how the man was being, and how the woman was being, how the kids were being. Like, we would have biblical conversations around Family Matters. And
Yeah,
once we stopped even conversing, me and Jen stopped talking about and biblically, you can hear the kids then say, "Oh, no, that's not okay because X, Y, and Z." Right? Just based on our conversation with them, giving them a biblical background of why, and not just saying don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Been very, very helpful. So I wanted to ask you this: what do you see in your kids individually that you see in yourself? There you go, youngster.
um, my kids, both of my kids are very strong-willed, and and that's both me and my wife and both of my
Okay.
children.
Okay.
Yeah, crazy strong will. I mean,
That's tough. That's tough. You got one. If you
it's
got
tough,
two.
boy. They are honorary. They are just as honorary as I am. Okay, and yeah, but I don't know, man. That's the biggest, man. Is
So they're honorary. So what do you feel like will be the value in being honorary when as they get older?
well, not honorary, but strong will.
Strong will. Sorry, yeah. Strong will.
You know,
So
they
what do you
are
think would
honorary,
be
but strong will, man. I think they're going to go far in life. You
okay.
know, um, I think my children are going to be able to do whatever they dream of doing. You know,
Okay.
because they do have such a strong will, and I know they do have faith. They have childlike faith in God, man. They do.
Mm,
They really do. My son, he prayed for snow last year, right? I'm talking prayed and prayed and prayed, and he knew that he was going to get snow, and by golly, he got it twice. Okay.
I had a son that did the exact same thing. It
Yeah,
was like a couple
yeah.
years ago. He was like, "Dad, it's gonna rain on Christmas." And so he said it's gonna snow on Christmas. It's,
Hold on one second.
I'm good.
Okay, just go play in.
Hey,
Yeah,
we. I guess you owe me one.
yeah, you did. I do. We got some technical difficulties going on with their tablet.
No problem. No problem. I
Yeah,
understand.
but
Hey,
but
it
you know,
shows that they value. That shows the world about how our kids value us, right?
yeah,
They want to come.
they depend on us. Man. They really,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, you
exactly,
know,
exactly.
yeah. But both of my kids, man, they I bought my son a little um children's Bible. You know, they kind of, I wouldn't say dumbs it down, but makes it more
Puts at their
simple for
level.
them.
Uh-huh.
Smaller words and stuff like that. And he gets in there, man, I'll go in there and catch him. He'll be reading it, and
That's
his
good.
sister will be over there beside them. They'll be reading it together.
That's
That's
cool.
just
That's what's up, man. Yeah, I see you glowing when you talk about them. So that's always a delight to see. When so what would you say has been the thing that you needed to work on the most as a dad?
I think my communication skills are probably uh, it's I would say probably that's a lot of dads that they need to work on communication skills. Really,
Mm,
even with my wife, you know, because I might be in a bad mood and don't nobody know why. I might have had a bad day at work and I'm not communicating what's going on. So uh, yeah, communication is definitely uh, something that I need to work on. And
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, that was me. I mean, I told you what my
yeah,
oldest said, and then I had my one of my youngest son. He was like, there was a point in time that he felt like I didn't love him,
right,
because I disciplined him, right?
yeah,
And think of it is that when you have that age gap and one is needing more discipline than the one that's getting a lot of discipline sees that the other one doesn't, right?
yeah.
And it's hard to explain that to a 4 or 5 year old,
It
right?
is.
His
Yeah,
siblings have learned the rules for the most part of the system, or they get a little bit, they don't get as much grace, but they have learned, okay, daddy operates like this, mommy operates like this, so I know I got to move differently, right? A
right,
4 year old is literally trying to learn the game.
right. They're testing. They're in test mode. They finna test everything they can test.
Exactly. And so because you're trying to test, then
Yeah,
that means that I got to show you if you passed or failed, right?
yeah, yeah,
And sometimes that comes with a consequence, right? And so what I had to do is started trying to figure out what his love language was, and
right,
his love language was quality time. And so spending a little bit more time with him allow him to see daddy differently. And plus at that time I was working 2 jobs. And so really it was like he would only see me with this when he was being disciplined, seemed like.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so now looking back, I'm like, oh, okay. I see why he would say that, even though his brothers and sister were saying, no, that is only doing that because you did something wrong, you know? And
Yeah.
so the communication and when I started telling them why they were getting in trouble, that really helped them once the consequence was done, as opposed to let me just do the consequence and then don't say anything. You just got in trouble.
Right.
But
So
when
I
I
make
start,
my kids tell me why they're getting in trouble,
okay,
so
okay,
they know. So they know,
yeah,
and I'll make them go tell mom. I'll make them call Papa. I'll make them call Nana.
okay,
So everybody knows why they're getting in trouble.
okay. That's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a good one because they got If you know, then you can't be too upset. You can not
Right.
like it, but you can't say that you don't deserve it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and then that easily translates to a biblical principle, right?
Yeah.
Like when God says that He's not going to like if you're one of God's children, then there's going to be discipline if you get out of line, right? And so that's a very good idea. I may take that one from you, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may take that one from you.
I
So
don't know if you know who Derek Cooper is. That's the Papa.
really,
Yeah. Yeah.
really,
That was my wife's like church dad, and he
okay,
was like the church mom, and so we both call him mom and dad.
what? They're
Yeah.
not even that old.
Well, they're older than we are,
They
not
are, but I'm
not
just
by
saying.
about not but about 10 years or so. But
Yeah, yeah, I remember
it's still,
Derek.
yeah, just
That's what's up.
yeah, they're just a little older, and we look up to
Yeah,
them,
that's
and
what's
we
up.
uh, we all look out for each other. Me, Chris, and Dee, and we all kind of look out for each other.
That's what's up. Yeah, me and D go way back. Him and his wife go way back. We
Yeah,
used to work at E-Tech together
yeah, yeah.
a long time ago. Yeah, that's what's up, man. I'm gonna get you out of here. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, and I got a
All
few
right,
more left, maybe like 5 or 6 more questions. So, in this particular part of the interview, I'm gonna ask you to give me a number between 1 and 44, and then I'm gonna read the question based on the number that you give me.
all right.
You ready? What's the first number?
33.
Oh, you already ready? Okay, 33. What's the best gift you've ever received, and what's the best gift you've ever given?
Whew. The best gift I've ever received, man. Um, that's tough. I don't know. I got a bunch of good things, man.
Well,
My
name one of
kids,
them.
my wife, gifts. We're talking about materialistic
You can
or
call it however you want to, bro. It's open. It's for interpretation.
all right, man. I think my wife giving me her hand is probably the best gift I've ever received, man.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
To
So
have somebody to stand beside me, and we've been through a lot together, a lot of bad and a whole lot of good too, but a whole lot of bad, and she stood there for me, man, and she had my back through 10 years of this stuff.
mm,
And
that's good stuff.
yeah, man, that's
So
the
wait,
that's the best gift
that's a
anybody could.
good. Listen, that's a good gift, bro. Hey, you got your good woman. That's a great gift. I mean, it said, hey, we gonna. I mean, it says it. He who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Mhm.
Make sure you treat her well, right? So okay, so what do you feel like is the best gift you've ever given?
Oh, the best gift I've ever given. I don't really know, man.
Okay,
Um,
what's the last gift you've given?
the last gift. Oh, the last gift I've given.
You're not giving gifts,
I get.
Justin?
I get. Hey, hold on, man. Hold on, man. Hold on, man. Hey, I gave a foster kid a sushi dinner. So
Oh,
I
okay.
went and bought all the stuff to make sushi,
Wow.
and because he loves sushi and he always wanted to learn how to make it.
Mhm.
So I went over to his house, and we all made it together for his 18th birthday. We
That's
made,
dope.
yeah, yeah, it
That
made us,
that is a great gift, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It really, 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 uh, blessed him, man. He
He'll
loved
never forget that.
it. He'll never forget it. I hope he does.
You just painted I mean, you just like cemented a memory
Yeah,
of what
it
love
was
looks
awesome.
like.
It
Yeah.
was an awesome time, man.
That's what's up. Give me
Yeah.
another. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Another what? Another number?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let's do 23.
What did you love to do in high school? That's what the question is. You can keep it G rated.
Man, I love to play baseball, man.
Really?
Yeah, I love to play baseball in high school, and yeah, love to
What
play
position did you
baseball.
play?
I was center fielder.
Oh, so you does that mean you was pretty fast?
No, it meant I was the only person that could get the ball back to the home plate.
You mean that you could throw it back to home plate?
Yeah, I could throw it back to home plate.
That's correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's what's
I
up.
can't anymore, but
Okay, yeah, my two sons play baseball and my daughter plays softball, and
yeah,
they really enjoy it. My Joshua, he's just an athlete, so he can play any sport.
yeah.
And then Ethan, he's learning. Uh, he's kind of uncoordinated because he's 7, but he's as tall as a 10-year-old,
Oh wow.
right? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? But he'll be 8 in January, but still he's as tall as his brother who is 10, 10
right.
and a half. And
Yeah,
so
my son will
he's
be 8
lanky. Oh, that's what's up. Happy birthday, homie. And
Saturday.
so he's lanky. So he's learning like eye hand coordination and things of that nature. And then my daughter, you know what I'm saying? Like she's a she approaches the plate with confidence, you know.
Right.
And this year, I said it was a very solid year for her. I think she may have got struck out like 4 times in the 12 games that she played, and
Yeah.
or else she was on base. You know.
Yeah. Same here. They always put me in the pitching in the batting lineup because I may not have, just hit it out of the park, but I was gonna make contact with the ball, whether it
Yeah.
be, and then I played pitcher a little bit too.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, she batted the last 3 or 4 games she batted first, and then before that she was batting second.
Right.
So that's what she's
I
been.
don't remember. It's been so long, man.
Hey, you don't have to remember. I was just telling you
Been
about my
probably
daughter.
15 years, probably. No, no, no. I was 16, so it's been 12 years.
I used to tell my students, about baseball. I say, man, baseball is a horrible sport, man. I just want y'all to know that. Like I would have these conversations with not knowing that later in life that I would be trying to get I play now I now play the baseball game on the Xbox.
Yeah,
I'm looking at baseball. I'm looking at baseball, trying to see what they doing to try to teach my kid. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to like really go back and say, I apologize. I mean, it is boring to watch, but if you know what's going on, it's totally
yeah.
different.
It's so fun to play, man. It's a total different sport when you're playing it.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely. Absolutely. What's your last number?
Last number, man. Let's do 13.
13. Okay. What is the most embarrassing thing you could say that your grandfather ever did to you?
All right. So the most embarrassing thing he ever done to me was pull my britches down in the middle of Walmart and tear my butt up.
For real?
Yes, sir.
How old were you?
Oh man, probably it happened a bunch, but I was I
That's
was
funny.
my grandpa called Walmart squaw mart because when kids didn't get what they wanted, all they did was squall about it. Right?
That is true.
And I was one of those kids.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I throw a fit, and boy, he pulled my pants down and whooped my butt in the middle of Walmart. It's
That's
a different time, you know.
you got that right. You got that right. That is true, man. I appreciate you answering those questions, man. I got two more questions, and then the one that you've been having to think about, see if you came up with an answer. Which TV dad now in the past would you say that you resemble characteristics of? You have some characteristics of that particular character. I know it's tough.
It is a tough one, man.
You're probably gonna have to go
Oh,
way back.
way back, all the way back. um, goodness gracious, Tim the Tool Man,
Oh,
man. I guess I don't know.
that's okay.
Uh,
Which what do you think you
all
have in
the
common with him?
emotional stuff,
Okay.
just being goofy and but still being stern, with
Yeah,
my kids when it needs. Um,
that's a good
I,
one. That's a
yeah,
good one. I mean, I'm not looking for exact, just
yeah,
like
that's the only
think
one
about
I
like
can think
who,
of, man.
yeah. Hey, it was a solid one, man. Like there's been some interesting individuals that people have talked about,
Yeah,
when I asked that question, and everybody always says yes, it's a tough question. Yes, it is.
yeah.
It's not something that you think about. Like which one of these characters, that do I resemble? And so it's a question for people to kind of ponder on. Um, the last question is, the last question that I ask is, um, what do you want your kids to say about you when you're no longer here?
I, I think about this. This is something that I think about. I want my kids to say that, he was a good, loving father that was always there, never left, always, was always in the picture, and that he was a godly man.
Mm,
And that's what I want my kids to say about me.
that's what's
You
up. That's good stuff.
because not having anyone ever there, it's so it's it's hard. I went through so much counseling and stuff like that as a young kid and teenager for all the stuff, not having good parents and all that stuff. And I want my kids to have a good father. You
That's
know,
good. Yeah, and
they
and,
say
and
he was a good dad or a good father. That's good enough for me, really.
that's what's up. That's good. And this is a testament to those out there that say, well, my environment dictates that I can't be a good dad. Well, that's not true
So far,
because you change your mindset
yeah.
regardless of whatever environment that you're in, right? I mean,
That's just
you're an example.
right. That's a lie from the pit of hell, man. It
100%.
it is a lie. It's the devil's a punk, man. He's gonna do everything he can to hinder you being a good father.
Hey, listen, you might
Yeah.
want to tag that, bro. The devil is a punk.
Yeah.
Hey, make that a mantra right there. Well, I won't hold you, man. It's been real good, Doc. I appreciate you being a part of my journey on the road to 100. It's been good to get to know you, man. And for all those that are out there, please like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. And you have the last words, Mr. Justin. What would you like to say to the people?
Man, just do your best to be a dad. to be a good father. Just do your best. That's all anybody can ever ask from you. Is your best. And don't let your past hinder your fatherhood. You know, don't get caught up in the things that you grew up with, things that I still do it myself. Don't get caught up in how you were raised. These aren't your parents' children; these are your
Mm.
children. Do your best and just stick with it. Don't give up. Don't give up.
That's a bar. Well, this has been dope, man. I appreciate it. And then until next time, we out of here.
Later, bro.
Deuce. All right, bro.